As the saying goes, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. It's a terrible motto that plenty of people stick with. That's no different in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Animated series. So today, we're going to look at some of the most memorable scumbags as we determine who these top 10 cheaters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are. And at number 10, we start this list with the Rare Hunter. Comically being part of the aptly named Rare Hunters, this duelist is remembered for his impact in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle City arc, where he played a full-power Exodia deck. As if that wasn't a win con to have a full-powered Exodia deck, the Rare Hunter would take things further to guarantee that he would draw all pieces of Exodia to win the game. The Rare Hunter would mark his cards with invisible ink and had special X-ray contacts to see the next cards, allowing him to see what Exodia pieces he was drawing next. This strategy allowed him to beat Joey and take his Red Eyes Black Dragon. Still, it flopped against Yugi, who figured out that the Rare Hunter was playing Exodia due to the number of stall cards he uses, like Swords of Revealing Light and Stone Statue of the Aztecs. Yugi countered this strategy using cards that stopped the Rare Hunter from adding cards to his hand, like Light Force Sword to snipe an Exodia piece out of his hand, Time Steal to stop him from drawing his final piece, and using Chain Destruction, which was a normal trap that you can use when an opponent summons a monster with 2000 or less attack, and destroys all cards of the same name that monster from your opponent's hand and deck. This clinched the game when the Rare Hunter summoned Exodia the Forbidden One, and Yugi chained the trap to get rid of the rest of the copies, preventing the Rare Hunter from getting the condition to win the game. Though the Rare Hunter cheated, he's very low on this list due to his cheating not making a bunch of sense. Even though he could see the next card on top of his deck, and had cards like Graceful Charity to boost his percent chantages, his deck was more luck-based than skills. Plus, he really didn't have any cards that could manipulate his deck, putting the pieces he needed into his hand quicker outside of draw power, making this need to cheat kind of redundant. If you're using your browser every day, it should feel good to use. That's why I switched to Opera GX. It's fast, clean, and way more customizable than what I was using before. Just look at this Gojo background I've installed. Opera GX lets you change just about everything. Live wallpapers? Check. Tab sounds? Background music? All there. You can make it look and sound exactly how you want. And if something isn't your vibe, just turn it off or swap it out. It's all in the mods menu. Super simple. Here's one of my favorite features, video pop out. If you're watching something like a show or a stream, you can pop it into a little floating window. It stays on top while you browse other tabs. No pausing, no switching back and forth. And you can even make it transparent, so you can see under it so it doesn't block up too much of your page. Switching browsers is usually a pain, but Opera GX made it really easy. I used the quick import tool and brought over all of my bookmarks, history, and settings in just a few clicks. It's even faster than a time skip like in those Japanese anime. If you want a browser that looks better, sounds better, and just feels smoother to use, give Opera GX a shot. I've been using it for a while now to watch YouTube videos, and honestly, I'm not going back. And at number 9, we have Esper Roba. The self-proclaimed psychic was one of Joey's many opponents during the Battle City arc. He would claim to know the cards in his opponent's hand, which gave him advantage in his duels. In episode 58, he used his ability to take down Rex Raptor in a duel, shocking everybody watching it. This didn't deter Joey from getting into a duel with Esper Roba. Esper showcased his ESP, tapping into his cosmic universe, revealing that he knew that Joey has Swordsman of Landstar in his hand. However, Joey theorized that something was up and once again proved that there was something afoot. This was solidified when Joey would draw graceful dice from his deck. Espa was roped into the trap as his brothers, watching from a high rise, told their brother through an earpiece what cards their opponent had in their hand. However, they mixed up graceful dice with skull dice, leading to Esper Roba calling the cards wrong and being exposed as a fraud. Although he was cheating, he wasn't out of ill intent. Espa had been doing everything he can to keep his brothers from being bullied by others since he and his brothers left the circus. This makes Espa one of the more understanding of the cheaters, as he's actually doing this for a good cause and not strictly out of malice. Plus, he gets a slide for giving us one of the most iconic monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Jinzo. Unfortunately, his cosmic powers didn't predict that he'd be caught, nor predicted that his fate would be sealed by Joey's RNG, as Joey uses Roulette Spider to redirect Jinzo's attack into Reflect Bounder, destroying both of Esper Roba's monsters and finishing his life points. And at number 8, we have Arkana. Arkana is our second rare hunter from Battle City, and many recognize him for his memorable duel between him and Yugi in the Battle of Dark Magicians. Outside of that, Arkana was a magician himself, who was famous and well known. An accident left him disfigured, and his assistant/girlfriend Catherine left him. This led him down a stray path that put him under the influence of Merrick and made him work as a rare hunter. While the story is a bit sad, this doesn't negate that Arkana gave us a reason to never trust a magician, as he was a big cheater. Though he didn't use the usual tricks like sleight of hand or taking your wallet while you weren't looking, Arkana trimmed the edges of his Dark Magician. So whenever the deck was cut, the Dark Magician would fall on top. That way, he'll always see one of his Dark Magicians in his hand whenever he starts a duel. He is also underhanded, proven in his duel with Yugi. During his duel with Yugi, both players were shackled by the ankles and could only escape by defeating the other player and unlocking the box below them, which had a key to remove the shackles or face being sent to the Shadow Realm. Arkana, however, had the traditional magician's tactic and had a key hidden up his sleeve. Even if he lost, he would have had a way out. Arkana's underhanded ways are one of a true cheater and give every person who does magic a bad name. And at number 7, we have Scorch and Chills, also known as the Pack, who make this list because of their cheating in the tag team's prowess. Introduced in Season 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, they were part of the gang that took Reginald, aka Shark, after he quit dueling. After some butting heads with Yuma and the gang, a plan to steal a power card for the museum and the powerful influence of the number of cards they own, Scorch and Chills end up in a tag team duel against Yuma and Reginald. They display everything you would expect from an evil tag team duo. Great combination and synergy, excellent communication with each other, and of course, flat out cheating from the get-go. Scorch and Chills' way of cheating was by setting up their decks before the duel and turning off their dual disc auto-shuffling to preserve the order of their cards. That way, the combo they planned to do could be executed with no flaws. And that was seen in how they were able to summon both number 61 Volcasaurus and number 19 Friezaduron with ease. Luckily, through the power of plot armor and Black Ray Lancer combined with number 39 Utopia, Yuma could destroy Volcasaurus and then hit Scorch for game and get the dub. Was it a lame technicality to win the duel? Maybe, but to be fair, the pack cheated first. Many iconic tag teams like Paradox and Loomis and Umbra have gray star screens. However, their tag team strategies, which were also hilariously done by cheating, fell short in the optimization category, as the pack's strategy guaranteed a number monster in one chain. The main lesson that can be taken away from this episode is that you should always shuffle your opponent's deck. Our next cheater is Mai Valentine. Everybody's favorite girl crush next to Dark Magician Girl takes her rightful seat. Mai is well known as the master of the Harpy Lady archetype and her on and off will they won't they moments with Joey Wheeler. What people seem to forget is that Mai was the first bad girl in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series and was caught cheating in the Duelist Kingdom arc. In episode 6, Mai challenges Joey to a duel to take his stars. During the duel, Mai would place her cards face down and use her psychic powers to choose the right card to play. This freaked Joey out until he figured out what Mai was doing. Mai could find out which cards was which by spraying different perfumes on her cards. That way, she smelled which card was which, giving the illusion that she was psychic enough to get into her opponent's head. This has got to be one of the most creative yet complicated ways of cheating seen in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. It's one thing to cheat by hiding extra cards, peeking at your cards before drawing them, or even pulling a rare hunter and marking them. To sniff a batch of perfume-scented cards and be able to tell which is which through a haze of aroma is one of the most impressive ways to cheat, and would probably be undetectable or just passed off as someone wearing too much perfume. Of every cheater here, Mai has the most unique cheating tactic that can't be replicated by anyone else. Mai eventually turns away from her cheating ways and does what she does best in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, getting dog-walked in duels repeatedly throughout the series. Not every Yu-Gi-Oh! Character has a happy ending. And cheating his way to the number 5 spot is Johnson. Johnson is part of the Big Five, which were executives for Kaiba Corp and worked underneath Gozaburo Kaiba, Sato Imoku's adoptive father and the biological father of Noah Kaiba. The Big Five has constantly made their presence known in the multiple arcs, like constant cameos in the Duelist Kingdom and their appearances as an interpretation of the five-headed dragon, the mythical dragon in the Legendary Heroes arc, where they were defeated and stuck in the virtual world. Their most memorable roles were in the Virtual World arc. In the arc, they attempted to get revenge against Kaiba and Yugi for foiling their plans on multiple occasions and taking over Kaiba Corp. Forming a partnership with Noah, they set up dual stipulations that, if the protagonist lost, the Big Five member who defeated them would gain that person's body and use it to escape into the real world. Johnson took on Joey in a duel. In the Virtual World duels, players were allowed to have monsters as deck masters, granting them extra abilities to use in the duel. Johnson had a mighty deckmaster in which he takes the form of Judgeman. Judgeman's deckmaster ability, Clear the Courtroom, allowed him to destroy all opposing monsters on the field for 1,000 of his life points, then inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. Johnson already had a powerful deckmaster. But that didn't stop him from being underhanded and cheating throughout the duel. Johnson would rig all of Joey's dice rolls and coin flip effects in his favor. This was a massive disadvantage for Joey, as most of his cards are based on chance and luck. So whenever Joey activated cards like Graceful Dice and Skull Dice, Johnson would rig the outcome to the worst possible one. If Noah had intervened and prevented more tampering, things might have turned out bad for Joey. Johnson's Deckmaster having such a powerful destruction effect and the ability to roll over your opponent's card results are a nasty combination for any duelist to fight against. And number 4 of cheating scumbags belongs to probably the most cleanest of them. Buff Grimes is a recurrent antagonist in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 series. Buff is the personification of what is known as a certified hater, showing disdain for rush duels, believing it was a stain to the beloved card game. So he did what any 6th grader would do and tried his best to sabotage Yuga and the gang by any means necessary. The worst part about Buff is that he happily believes that cheating is one of his core strengths. I repeat this, a 6th grader believes wholeheartedly that his best ability in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is cheating. In his first appearance, Buff took on Roman in a rush duel to sabotage the main character's pursuit of the body of Kaizo and also make them work forever to pay off a 666,666 food bill that they accumulated at lunch. Buff consistently cheated throughout the duel, wiping his disc down to recycle his Bleach Mortar spell card to weaken Roman's Prima Guratar, the Shining Superstar. He almost won until Luke stopped it with a strange power in his watch and stopped the cheat function in Buff's disc from working. That wasn't the last time he'd cheat, as later on in the series he would accidentally trap Luke in a cage and challenge him to a duel after he realized Luke couldn't use his powers to stop him from cheating. This time, whenever he wiped his disc, he used a system called Arisa's Angel to rearrange the top cards of his decks while using a strategy to completely deck Luke out. Unfortunately, Luke's skills was too much for Grimes' area Angel, and again, Grimes was defeated. Grimes' cowardly tactics are a problem, but to be proud and openly admit that you love cheating and never learn from your actions puts Grimes as one of the all-time lowest scumbags in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying are definitely words Buff is proud to live by. There's no list in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! That doesn't have Weevil Underwood as one of the most hated cheaters in the game. Outside of giving insect players a bad name, there's rarely been any instance where we haven't seen Weevil cheat in his duels. His preferred method of cheating is sabotaging the player's deck directly by any means to gain the upper hand when they face off. In the first instance where we see Weevil interact with the gang, he throws Yugi's Exodia pieces over the boat on the way to Duelist Kingdom. This doesn't stop Yugi from scrapping Weevil up at the Duelist Kingdom and having him eliminated in the first round. It also didn't stop Weevil from plotting to get revenge on Yugi and his friends for the humiliation, as throughout the series he'd run into them and become a pain. In the Battle City arc, Weevil again shows off his conniving style in his duel against Joey. Weevil activates a spell called Reckless Parasite, which summons a parasite from their opponent's deck. Joey is surprised by this because he doesn't have one in his deck. It's later revealed that it was placed in his deck by a kid Joey had met earlier who took his duel disc. Weevil had paid the kid to place the card inside Joey's deck and told him to make up a sob story to lead Joey to him and entice him into a duel. He's even attempted to steal the Egyptian god cards later in the series to get revenge, though that ended in failure as he took the Millennium items instead, ran into Bakura, and got a one-way trip to the Shadow Realm. Weevil is no slouch in thinking 10 steps ahead. What makes him even worse is that even if he doesn't cheat, he's still known as one of the top duelists in the world, as he's won the regional championship that allowed him to be part of the Duelist Kingdom tournament in Season 1. Cheating or not, Weevil is absolutely not a person you want bugging you. Coming in and probably cheating his way to number 2 is Bandit Keith. The US Duel Monsters champion has a history of winning by any means necessary. This is proven by how he stuck into the Duelist Kingdom tournament since losing the Intercontinental Championship in New York City to Pegasus. Hell-bent on revenge, Keith did everything to make sure he would face Pegasus at the end. His first cheating tactic was directing his understudy Bones in a duel against Joey. This included giving Bones advice during the match and even beefing up his deck with new cards like Call of the Haunted. Even after Joey won, Bandit Keith trapped Joey, Yugi, and the rest inside the cave where they were dueling, then beat up Jones, Zygor, and Sid and took their star chips to enter the finals. In the finals, Keith takes Joey's entry card when he's sleeping as it's proof of being a finalist, almost costing Joey his chance to participate. Mai gave Joey her entry card after losing to Yugi in the finals, but Joey was saved and placed in a match against Bandit Keith. Once again, Keith was up to no good, as, during the match, Keith would pull out cards from his wristband to gain the upper hand. Bandit Keith would pull out multiple copies of 7 Complete to boost his monster slot machine. Fortunately, Joey would win the duel by using Grave Robber to take Bandit Keith's time machine and bring back his Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon to win the game. After the game, Keith would try to get Joey disqualified, saying Joey's entry card didn't belong to him. However, Pegasus knew from the beginning and also knew that Keith was cheating throughout the duel. So, out of desperation, Keith pulled the final active cheat, which was trying to threaten Pegasus into giving him the tournament money, by holding a gun to his head in the Japanese version of the anime. Many cheaters don't have the gutso to push things over the limit, but Bandit Keith was willing to even take a life to ensure his goals were met. He truly believes in doing whatever it takes, directly or indirectly, to make sure he comes out on top. Sadly, Keith loses his place because one man is his whole bane. That man also happens to be our number 1. It should come as no surprise that the number 1 cheater is Maximilian Pegasus. When you're stealing someone's grandfather's soul through a TV, reading people's minds, and the creator of the game you're playing, nothing screams cheating antagonist better than Pegasus. The leader of the Industrial Illusions has shown how diabolical he can be and ensure his plans come to fruition. He also has the means to make sure his goals come true due to the help of the Millennium Eye, a Millennium item that allows the beholder to read people's minds. So not only can he read what's in the player's hand, but he can also read every card in the player's mind, since players naturally know every card in their deck. He can also steal souls and conjure up the Shadow Realm during duels for penalty games. As you can guess, this is the source of Pegasus' cheating. It's first put on display during the match against Bandit Keith, where Pegasus leaves the table and gets a little kid to duel in his stead by telling the kid to follow what's written on the paper. The kid follows all the instructions, leading to one of the most embarrassing defeats in Yu-Gi-Oh! He also uses Millennium Eye in the first match against Yugi, reading Yugi's mind and predicting every card Yugi would play. However, Yugi showed Pegasus' plan wasn't perfect, and he played through the Millennium Eye by not looking at his next card and just playing it. Though Yugi had some leeway, time ran out on their penalty game and Pegasus was declared the victor due to having more life points. He took Yugi's grandfather's soul and forced Yugi to participate in the Duelist Kingdom tournament. He once again would cheat when taking on Kaiba. In episode 26, Kaiba tries to coerce Pegasus to use his dual disc system in their face-off. Pegasus takes the dirty route and tells Kaiba that he'll duel him, but he'll make Kaiba's brother, Mokuba, whose soul was removed from his body, operate the disc. Kaiba stands down, unable to duel his brother because Mokuba is suffering so much, and he doesn't want to harm him even if he doesn't have a soul. This leads to Pegasus and Kaiba dueling through the regular Duel Kingdom system where Pegasus trounces Kaiba. He predicts every one of Kaiba's tactics, takes Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragon, and modifies it into the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, and even bests his Sagi the Dark Clown Crush Card Virus combo by giving Sagi an attack boost with negative energy. After dusting Seto and taking his soul, a few more episodes pass, he finally takes on Yugi in a rematch. Yugi counters Pegasus' mind reading by switching out personas between Yami Yugi and regular Yugi. This angers Pegasus, and he uses the Millennium Eye to take them to the Shadow Realm, causing the Yugi's mind shuffling strategy to take a bigger toll on their body. Pegasus comes off as silly most of the time, but proves to be ruthless when needed. Even though Pegasus turned a new leaf after losing his Millennium Eye, this doesn't subtract from the fact that the creator of Duel Monsters is the most notorious cheater ever. With this, our list of lovable or sickening cheaters comes to a close. Did we miss any other rule breakers? If so, let us know down in the comments, and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh content, and until next time.